Yes, my people, I hope everyone's doing absolutely fantastic. You've done it already. Fam, Miguel's favorite is back again, bro. Here to preview everything that there is to preview for Matchday 14 in the Premier League. Some of the topics that we'll cover in this video include a massive encounter at the Emirates Stadium where Arsenal will be taking on Wolves. Manchester United will be tested when they take on Newcastle at St. James Park. And Manchester City, who will be taking on Tottenham Hotspur at the Etihad Stadium, and much more. So if any of that does interest you, stick around. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Tell a friend, and let's get it cracking, bro. Matchday 14 does of course commence on Saturday when Brentford take on Luton Town. Brentford, they barely lost their last game against Arsenal, losing 1-0. And then Luton Town, they won their last game against Crystal Palace 2-1. But honestly, Crystal Palace should have at least gotten a point out of that game, if we're being very real. I don't know. Both teams are not playing very well at the moment. Both teams do have a chance just because of how poorly they're both playing. But I think Brentford might have just a slight edge. That's why I'm going to go for Brentford 1, Luton Town no. Moving on, we do of course head over to the Emirates Stadium where Arsenal will be taking on Wolves. Arsenal, as I mentioned already, they won their last game, barely 1-0 against Brentford. But in the midweek in the Champions League, they managed to put in a 6-0 win against Lens. But honestly, they played Lens, fam, so you can't really look into it. And that's no disrespect to Lens. But yeah, it's nothing too much you can really look into. And as for Wolves, came really close in the last game. I forgot who they played, but they lost 3-2. I think it was Fulham. Correct me if I'm wrong, but they came really close. But yeah, it wasn't enough. It really wasn't enough. Arsenal, they should be winning this game comfortably, but I don't know. For me, for whatever reason, fam, the way Arsenal this season, fam, Arsenal, whether they're playing well or they're playing poorly, they just managed to get the results, fam. I'm telling you, bro, Arsenal, they're doing what United does, fam. Doesn't matter that whether or not Arsenal's playing well or if they're playing poorly, they just manage to get results. That's literally what Arsenal's on this season, fam. And I think that they'll probably do that against Wolves. I don't think they'll lose this game, let alone tie. I think they'll come away with the win. That's going to go for Arsenal 2, Wolves 1. I'm telling you, bro, I'm just genuinely not convinced by the way Arsenal's playing, but they're managing to get those results, and honestly, at the end of the day, that's all that matters. We then, of course, have Burnley, who will be taking on Sheffield United. Both teams really poor. I think Burnley, they lost 2-1 in the last game against West Ham, and then Sheffield, they got destroyed like 3-1 or something like that. Who it was against, I can't remember, but they did lose 3-1. I don't think this is going to be too interesting of a game, bro. I really don't think so. Both these teams they're poor, really boring to watch. It'll probably be a snooze fest, but there might be some goals in here. That's going to go for Burnley 1, Sheffield 1. Moving on, we do of course have Nottingham Forest, who will be taking on Brighton. Nottingham Forest, they lost their last game, or both of these teams, even though they lost their last game, they didn't play that poorly. Nottingham Forest, they should have at least gotten away with a draw in their last game against Brighton. And then as for Everton, on paper, it looked really bad because they lost 3-0, but they didn't play that poorly, fam. They were actually playing better than United. They were. Just United were much more clinical than Everton. You know them way there. So this game is kind of for either side. Everton, they are dealing with that 10-point deduction, and I do think that's heavily working against them. And because of that, I think Nottingham Forest, just morale-wise, might have a bit of a boost. But Everton, form-wise, are definitely a superior side than Nottingham Forest, at least as of lately. So with that being said, I do reckon this is going to be a really close game. I think Everton might be able to dig this one out and potentially get a win. I can't lie, fam. I think Everton, if they really dig this one out, they might have a chance of getting a win out of this game. But I think they might fall short. That's going to go for Nottingham Forest 1, Everton 1. Last and final fixture on Saturday for Matchday 14 in the Premier League is, of course, at St. James Park, where Newcastle will be taking on Manchester United. Newcastle, they absolutely ripped apart Chelsea in the last game, a 4-1 victory, I believe. And as for Man United, a 3-0 victory in the last game against Everton, but they didn't play well. And fam, United managed to draw 3-3 with Galatasaray, fam, in the Champions League. These men are in the absolute mud. I don't understand how Ten Hag hasn't been sacked yet, fam. Manchester United have not been able to be a top 10 team in the Premier League, and they sit bottom of the group in the Champions League. Fam, if Ten Hag gets anything less than a win out of this game, he has to be sacked, bro. Like, I really don't. And against Newcastle, it's peak for Man United, fam. I don't see how they're going to put in a performance and get a win out of this game. However, I do think Man United will probably be able to scumbag this one, fam. I can't lie. I think they might be able to scumbag this one. I don't think it'll be a bloodbath. It might be. It could be. But part of me feels that Man United might be able to scumbag this one. That's why I'm going to go for Newcastle 2, Manchester United 2. Heading into Sunday, we do of course head over to Stamford Bridge, where Chelsea will be taking on Brighton. Should be an interesting one, fam. Both teams in very rocky form. Chelsea, they looked pretty good, and then they got destroyed against Newcastle. But we can't forget that Raheem Sterling free kick. That was absolutely sick. And then Brighton, continuing with their very inconsistent form. Again, I mentioned this a little while ago. They got that win against Nottingham Forest, but well and truly, fam, that game should have been a draw for Nottingham Forest. Again, this should be a really close game, fam. Really close game. Cucurella, of course, coming up against his former club. I'm really looking forward to this game, fam. Part of me does feel that Chelsea might have the upper hand, though. I can't lie. I think Chelsea might have it. They do have a better chance of winning this game in comparison to Brighton. Building on that thought, I think Chelsea might be able to edge it. That's why I'm going to go for Chelsea 2. Brighton 1. Moving on, we do of course head over to Anfield, where Liverpool will be taking on Fulham. Liverpool done well in the last game against Manchester City, getting that 1-1 draw. A massive result, and I do expect them to capitalize on that result. And as for Fulham, done well. They done decently in the last game against Wolves, a 3-2 victory in the last game. But I don't think they're gonna capitalize on that result, fam. I really don't. Anfield's a tough place to go. I expect Liverpool to walk all over them. That's gonna go for Liverpool 3. Fulham 0. I think Fulham at best will probably score a goal. After that, we do of course head over to the London Stadium, where West Ham will be taking on Crystal Palace. West Ham 2-1 victory in the last game, a decent result for them. And then Crystal Palace, again, unlucky not to get at least a draw in their last game against Luton Town. Elise with an absolute banger in that game. Should be a really close one as well. Very close one as well. I think Crystal Palace should do whatever they can to dig this one out. I really do think so, but I don't think they'll be enough. I think West Ham, on paper, just look better. They are playing better as well. They're going to be playing at home. Crystal Palace, I think they'll both, honestly, I think they'll put in a very similar performance to the one against Luton Town. I think the football will be decent, but they're just going to fall short. I think West Ham are going to capitalize on that. Second to last fixture for Matchday 14 in the Premier League is, of course, Bournemouth, who will be taking on Aston Villa at the Vitality Stadium. Bournemouth, they done well in their last game. They did get a win. I forgot against who, but they did get the 3 points in the last game. But I don't expect them to capitalize on the result. As for Aston Villa, they also did really well in their last game. Massive result against Tottenham Hotspur, 2-1 victory. I definitely expect them to capitalize on the result. I don't think Bournemouth stand a chance. However, going away from home is never the easiest of tasks, so that is playing in the back of my mind. But I think Aston Villa will do just enough to get those 3 points, fam. That's I'm going to go for Bournemouth 1, Aston Villa 2. Honestly, when you consider the form that Ollie Watkins is in right now, it's really difficult to see why Aston Villa wouldn't be the favorites. The last and final fixture for Matchday 14 in the Premier League is, of course, at the Etihad Stadium, where Manchester City will be taking on Tottenham Hotspur. Manchester City, they dropped points in the last game against Liverpool, fam. 1-1 draw on that one, and they also dropped points against Arsenal. This does raise concern in this game, fam. Will Manchester City drop points against Tottenham Hotspur? Tottenham Hotspur, they're like, 3 losses in a row at this moment in time. They've really dipped in form. They've got loads of injuries. However, Tottenham Hotspur, for whatever reason, always seem to upset Manchester City when they go up to the Etihad Stadium. Can they do it again this season, fam? If they do so, oh my days, that would be absolutely clutch for Tottenham Hotspur. If Manchester City do drop points here against Tottenham Hotspur, I think it does make you realize that Manchester City are not the same team from last season, and there has been a massive drop-off. Anyways, I think this match can kind of go 2 ways. It'll either be entertaining or be an absolute snooze fest. I think Tottenham Hotspur will manage to dig something out of this game, though. That's why I'm going to go for Manchester City 2, Tottenham Hotspur 2. The last and final thing I wanted to touch on was WWE Monday Night Raw. If you guys saw the last Monday Night Raw, Seth Rollins said that next week he would be taking on Jey Uso for the World Heavyweight title. And honestly, fam, at least for me, when you deep it, bro, I think when those two face each other, I think Jey Uso will probably come out on top. However, I think by the end of that match, if Jey Uso does come out on top, I think Damian Priest will cash in his money in the bank, challenge Jey Uso for that title, and win it, fam. But that's just me. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. But I think that's definitely a possibility. But anyways, fam, I hope you lot did enjoy. If you did, like always, please make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Tell a friend. Let me know in the comments down below who you think is going to play the best during Matchday 14. What team's going to play the best. What match you're looking forward to the most. Your thoughts on WWE SmackDown or Monday Night Raw. And yeah, fam. Oh, and also the Champions League, fam. We also did have Champions League this week. Let me know your thoughts on all that stuff. But anyways, like always, I hope everyone's doing absolutely fantastic, and I'll see you lot soon.